5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hello and welcome everyone to Truth, Beer, and Podsequences.
Yay!
Yay, indeed. Julia and
special guest, surprise guest. Yes.
Not first time on the pod though, so
Yeah.
I will introduce them.
Yes.
And we have the best co-host in Podcastlandia.
I'm Julia.
And then we have a Blake from Blake's Craft Beer Podcast.
Yes.
Yes. I almost said no, Miami Valley. And I'm like, no, wait a second. That was
Yeah.
old Blake.
Yeah.
That was
now
so
we've got
good.
new Blake. Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
same podcast and different
Right.
names.
Still fantastic. Just for whatever reason, my brain
He's
just
changing
went,
it
wait a
still
second.
again though. It's going to be the Gulf
Everything-
of Blake.
No more changing. No.
Rebranding is
Yeah, he's rebranding.
not something fun. Yes.
Kind of like the
Did you see
kinda
Voice
like
of
the mall,
America?
Voice of America.
Yeah. Or I'm sorry, the
Voice of Mexico?
Which fucking hell yeah, good for them. Good
mean,
for
that's
whoever.
fine.
Absolutely, I love
Sure,
it. I love
okay.
it. It's fantastic.
whatever.
That's as political
Canada's
as
still
we're
pissed
going to
at
try
us.
to get.
I'm like, what happened? What did we do?
No. Let's leave. Let sleeping dogs lie, and just let's talk about what we normally talk about for a majority of the show because
Yeah.
it's Kolsch night, which you guys all know means a rushed episode.
Yeah, and my
It's
name's
still
Marco.
fun.
I'm a taproom manager here locally.
Oh yeah. There's you too.
I used to brew beer, so. But anyways,
You did stuff.
I did stuff. Still do. I mean, some stuff. You know.
Yeah. Never mind.
Yeah.
I just drink beer
I do a lot of
and
that.
control sliders and
Do
stuff.
a lot of that.
Blake, what do you do?
I drive a forklift and do podcasts on the side.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Love
and full
it.
disclaimer: no drinking while driving.
Correct.
Is forklift.
Correct.
Yep.
Other disclaimer. Why not just throw that in there?
Yeah, sure. So all the thoughts and opinions on this podcast are ours and ours alone. They do not reflect any entity which we may be affiliated with, such as full-time jobs, part-time jobs, higher gravity itself. If you want to get at us, you can get at us. We'll tell you how at the end of the pod, or you can scroll through the show notes, and Julia leaves little Easter eggs in there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you read the show notes and find the Easter egg and reach out to us every now and then,
Things will happen.
Yeah, things will happen. Things will happen.
All my thoughts today are for the Forklift Drivers of America Union.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. why
Yeah.
not? Is that a thing? Like, is there a
Not at
group-
mine.
Okay.
No. Okay.
All right.
So, I support non-unionized forklifters too.
All right. What else do we need to talk about? Beer. It's
Well,
a craft beer
this
podcast.
this is a podcast where we listen to all the craft beer media from the previous week. We get together most of
Yes. Which
And
we'll
then-
have a little touch
and
on.
then we give our version of the truth, and hopefully there aren't too many consequences from the hosts of the other shows. There we go.
All right.
That's what it is.
And we are a true craft beer podcast, which means we drink during this podcast.
Yeah, we're not like
it's
the-
not always alcoholic beverages, but
Correct.
today it is. We're
Today
having
it
a little
is.
like pregame before Kolsch night.
Yep.
So Marco, what's in your glass?
Fretboard Light
Excellent.
by
Blake.
Fretboard.
Oh, is that who that
Yeah.
makes Fretboard Light?
Yep.
Fantastic. I wasn't sure.
Yep.
I'm drinking the same thing.
Same
Fretboard
thing.
Light.
All right. And I'm going a little bit different. MadTree's Skygazer. Good Lord, I never
All
got
right.
the name of this beer right. Citrus sweet. It's fantastic.
Very good.
All right, because it is Kolsch night, and we're just going to keep on saying that throughout the show because
Coach Light.
you know that it's going to be a rushed episode. We have 3 shows we're going to touch on today, but I do have 2 quick mentions that I'm going to throw out there, which is what I'll start with.
And I have one,
First-
too.
Okay, you might have one of the same ones that I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Adam makes beer.
I had that one.
Yes. He put up his video on YouTube of his brew day at Cartridge where they made an IPA. So if you want to check out a long-form video of the entire brewing process that Cartridge does, check out his episode. I'm sure that he'll have another Q&A session, another industry professional podcast that'll be out soon. And his brew day videos, typically at like maybe a week or so after they come out, he'll start cutting them into YouTube shorts. So you can go ahead and check out tiny little clips of the long-form video if that's your thing. And then the other quick mention, there were 2 other fantastic shows that came out this week, but because of Kolsch night and because this is a rushed episode, we're bumping them to next week so we can talk about them with as much time as they deserve. And that is Blake Your Podcast and Craft Parenting Pod, their podcasts, which are also very closely related.
Talking about the same, about a similar topic.
Event in the same topic. Exactly. Blake, do you want to give kind of a preview of what we're going to be talking about next week?
For me, doing what we did, I being in my area, I never got to do many bottle shares, and it was cool just to do a big bottle share like that. And
nice.
And Third Eye.
It was
did
for
amazing.
for the release of Third Eye's Meanwhile in Sharonville. Stout. Yeah. It is. It's going to be a fun talk next week. So buckle up and you can put up with this shorter episode because you know that next week it's going to be pretty ridiculous. I'm pretty sure. All right, the 3 shows we are going to talk about today are Barstool Perspective.
Yep.
And then All Things Gnome. Wow, I almost said Cincy Beer Events. Because I don't know. Does that mean that I said it wrong?
Yeah, let's go.
Cincy Brewcast. Cheers.
Everyone. We drank when we messed that up.
Mess up a name of a show, exactly. And the Weekly Pint.
Yeah.
So, Blake, as guest of the show, where do you want to start today?
Let's just start with Barstool.
Okay, sounds good to me. This is their episode from Valentine's Day, February the 14th of 2025, or as I'm calling it, the Tariff Talks.
Also, Mike's wedding anniversary.
Yeah, so happy anniversary, a little bit late.
He actually had hair.
I know, he had hair in his picture, which I am ashamed. Not I'm ashamed. Producer Dan should be ashamed that he did not zoom in on that picture because we got kind of a silhouette of Mike and his lovely wife in the picture. But none of us got to see the hair except for Brett. So I think we're missing out. So Bruce guys, I'm sure I know you guys listen. I know you're big fans of the show. Put the picture up on Patreon for the people that are supporting everything that you're doing.
There you go.
Also, still haven't found the show as a podcast.
No.
So, all right. One of the first notes that I have: Denmark is going to buy California solely for the wine. And I say, if that's the case, I am moving there, and I welcome our new Danish overlords.
I didn't bother cross-checking this story, but
no,
that
I didn't
sounds
either.
made up.
Brett and Mike would not lie to us.
No. Well,
This is all completely factual.
okay.
Everyone's wanting to buy everyone right now. So.
This is very true.
Yeah.
This is very, very true. If you could have your pick of any country, company, entity, whatever, who would you want to buy Ohio? Blake. I know this is like completely on the spot, so first thing that pops into your head, who would you want to buy Ohio? I mean, Denmark's not bad. I mean, we could go worse from having Denmark buy up all the United States.
Maybe Ireland, and we could have a real Guinness factory.
Oh, I like that. Marco, who would you be okay with if they bought Ohio?
If Mike Rowe bought Ohio, I think that would be good.
Okay. I was going to go for another Mike. I was going to say Michael D. Morgan.
Yeah.
Bruce guys needs to just buy Ohio.
There you go.
And our state would be absolutely phenomenal. The sovereign union of...
With all their Patreon,
Reich.
they could probably do something.
They probably could. I bet they're raking in tens of dollars with that.
Definitely tens of dollars.
Tens of dollars.
10 of it is from you.
Maybe.
So.
Maybe. In this part of their discussion, you can also learn about the Danish lowball, which is something I never
Right.
needed to know about, but now that I do know
That's
about
when they
it.
take the Coke away.
Oh my God, I'm telling you. Let's see, they moved from there into talking about the bourbon crisis. We have too much and tariffs, and we're at war with Canada, and it's just not good as far as bourbon goes, unless you like buying super expensive bottles of bourbon. And then you might have a new retirement.
Was this an actual story from last week, or did they just like playing the hits here?
I don't know. I don't check any
Like
of their
top
stories.
40s, you know?
I take what they say as gospel, which is why I liquidated my entire 401k and bought nothing but Tilray stock with it. So now I need to sell all of that for the $3 that I paid for.
Well, they have more financial advice coming up later.
Yeah, and that's actually my next note.
Oh, okay.
Cognac.
Yeah, cognac. That's what I want to do with my money.
So if either of you knew that there was, and we'll not even say cognac, like something that you wouldn't even drink, but if you knew, if I buy a bottle of this thing and hold on to it, if you could be guaranteed that in 15 years it would appreciate at least 50% more than
I'm
what
not
you
that
bought,
guy.
Not gonna do it.
I can't do it. No, because
Yeah.
you know what? I had a lot of baseball cards when I was growing up. You know what I did with them? Just trashed him.
I was just going to say, let him get wet.
Gave him
let
the
get old.
goodwill or trashed him or whatever. I can't be trusted with things of that sort of responsibility.
Apparently, it could be gone in a year or two due to tariffs, which
Wouldn't change my life at all in any way.
But the fact that there is a spirit or a line of products, and I don't know the proper terminology for it, that because of tariffs could legitimately be gone within a year or two. Like, that was interesting. It still doesn't make me want to buy any of it, but I thought that was really, really fascinating. So definitely listen for that interesting piece of spirit, news, and information, if nothing else. Let's see. Hulk Hogan beamed a woman in the head with a can of beer, which should surprise absolutely no one.
Nobody.
Nope.
No.
Nobody at all.
No.
Let's see. Brett quoted the most powerful Bible verse. They kind of went down a little secular side train.
I have it
there.
right here, Julia.
Oh, okay.
I actually have it right here.
All right.
It's just Grandpa.
This is from Matthew 19, verses 23, 24. This is what Jesus said to his disciples.
Yeah.
Truly, I tell you, it's harder for the Cowboys to win a Super Bowl than for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of heaven.
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for the Cowboys to win a Super Bowl. There it is.
I mean, you can't argue with it. Let's see. There was some talk about the difference between control states and non-control states, which I have heard the phrases before, but never actually knew what they meant until this part of their episode. So thank you, Mike and Brett, for educating me on stuff. On-premises sale of draft beer is up, so draft beer is making a comeback. So,
Yay.
so
Yay.
buy your beer in your breweries, in your bottle shops, in your wherever they have stuff on tap, because that's helping the local economy. And the last note that I have: cheap beer is cheaper than bottled water, which is true if you go to the
Right,
Cyclones on
right.
beer
I mean,
night.
and that
Yeah,
has
yeah,
been
yeah.
true.
Right. I mean, you get some of this stuff where it's like you buy a case of water, and you're looking at, depending on what you get, $12, $15. You can get a 30 rack of some of this cheap beer for like $10. It's practically water anyway. So why bother with the water?
Yeah.
It comes out of your tap. It comes out of the hose. You get it for free at home, unless you're in Flint. And
Hose water.
good luck.
My hometown just went through this past weekend a boil advisory,
Oh,
so I
gosh.
feel them.
Yeah.
It was a very long weekend.
Did you boil water?
Yeah.
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 Well, it's either buy bottled or you boil it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not.
I mean,
a
I
fun
wouldn't
time.
want to risk getting sick because
No.
what could be in the water.
No,
Yeah,
absolutely not.
Yeah. Those were all the notes that I took on this episode of Barstool Perspective. Do either of you have anything else you want to add about their Valentine's Day show before we get onto the sip count and then move on to our next show?
No. Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They both had their. They both had a schooner, but Mike's was bigger.
And they still haven't found the glass that I took or haven't mentioned it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Okay. Anything from you, Blake?
Nope.
All right. Moving on to the sip count, which is the most fun part of any of the recaps that we do.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar and you're going, what the hell are these numbers you're tossing out?
What are numbers?
If it's a video, I count every confirmed sip that I can, which is I see the glass go to the lips and it looks like they take a drink. And because counting individual sips isn't necessarily the most fun drinking game, Marco found on the interwebs 3-ish years ago that the average sip is actually 2 ounces.
Yeah.
So
you
it's
can
part-
debate that, but don't.
Sure, but don't. No, it's our game. It's our fun.
Yeah.
Just let us have our moment here.
Form your own podcast and make your own
Drinking game.
drinking
Exactly.
ounce game thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for every sip that the guests take, that's 2 ounces. So Mike took 17 sips.
All right.
And Brett, for a while, he and Mike were kind of going back and forth a
36
little bit. Ooh, you're close. You were very close. Brett took 21 sips.
Oh.
Which means there were a total
was
of
wrong.
38 sips.
That's mathing
You were
incorrect.
close. Well, you were close. You were very close. You said 36. You said 36 sips. And they took 38 sips.
38 sips.
Yeah, which is 76 ounces.
All right. 76 ounces. Let's go. Let's have that now.
4.75 pints. No, let's not.
Okay.
Because we have to get down to Kolschnight. All right. Do we want to move on to Cincy Brewcast or the Weekly Pint next?
Cincy Brewcast.
All right. Got to go in order here. This is Volume 10, Episode 20. Mellotone Beer Project takes it seriously, but not too seriously. I still need to make it down there. Just
Me as well.
the weather's
Me as
been
well.
crap. You know what I mean? It's just, there have been a couple nice days, but it just hasn't worked out. Alex Noel, who is the inventor of glitter beer,
Yeah.
was named
Wow.
as guest on the show.
Yeah.
I love glitter beer. Do you guys? What are your thoughts on it? I don't want it all the time, but it's
I've
it's
glittered
fun.
beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
So you have no issues with drinking a beer with glitter in it?
I don't.
It'll come March 17th.
Right. Absolutely.
I don't have
absolutely.
an issue with
Okay.
glitter beer.
Good.
But she dropped a few. She had some name drops in there.
Oh, my
about
God,
people
her-
that invented other things.
So I'm going to kind of skip around a bit in this recap. One of the things that I was thinking, I watched the Patreon version of the video of this episode. So full
So did
disclaimer,
I.
if I have a couple notes in here that you're watching going, when did this happen? Sign up
It's
to
an
be a
easy way to
Nomi.
do that.
Yeah.
You sign up to be a Nomi. Patreon.
Listening to her talk just reminded me of how strong the voices of the women in beer in Cincinnati are. It reminded me of the amazing women on
Yep.
the Women in Beer panel that
Yep.
I did this past Cincy Beer Week. And just, she knows what she wants. She knows what she's doing. And she's not afraid to just say it and be like, no, I know beer. This is my life.
Right.
Straightforward about her passion for beer, her passion for her brewery and her business, and she's still not afraid to have fun with it because in the end, it is beer. So I love that kind of, I
Yeah.
would call it different polarities of her, but again, knowing when to be serious about it and when to have fun with it, an absolutely amazing trait. Let's see, is it a bad thing to have people focus on your food program and not necessarily your beer if you're a brewery with a full kitchen? And she said, no, it's not necessarily a bad thing because it gives a bigger reach, bigger diversity to the crowd that you can pull into a space. If you have someone, or somewhere rather, that is all about, oh, the beer's great, the beer's great, the beer's great. Well, how's the food? I don't know, didn't really pay attention to it. You're not going to pull in that extra potential consumer or clientele
Yeah.
base that is more interested in food than beer.
Right.
So I thought that was a very, I guess, common sense way of thinking about it, if that makes sense. You know, she's not overly concerned if people are focusing on their food program and not the beer, because again, she knows that brings in, almost like Wandering Monster, the two different sides of the house bring in two different customer bases, and that way, if one kind of slows down for whatever reason, you still have the other two to work off of. That's putting words in her mouth. I'm saying that as
I don't know. I think it could be an interesting discussion on what if you just name a place and somebody says, this is going to be, 5149. Tell me whether it's a restaurant or a brewery and what people end up saying about a place.
Well, I guess one of the good examples is potentially, and I know that this might be a weird example because it's not a brewery, it's a tap room, but Fretboard Public House. Their social media, it's all their food.
Mm-hmm.
There are very rarely posts or discussions about their beer.
Mm-hmm.
They're focused on the food program there, so it seems. I haven't been up to the Hamilton
Gilligan's
location
before
yet.
the changeover.
Before the change, right, exactly.
Gilligan's was a restaurant.
Right, exactly.
That had,
Had brewing equipment that they just didn't
Yeah.
fire up in time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. She touched a bit on the brewery that she opened in Los Angeles, which is Three Weavers, and that kind of touched on, just like you said in the beginning, the absolute insane number of people and places that she has worked with and worked for, and that she knows.
she worked
and
for
just-
Sierra Nevada.
Holy crap! I mean, just absolutely amazing. Monkish, or not worked there, but she knows the people at Monkish.
Yeah.
Absolutely, just astounding. The-
Hearing her and thinking of like the Cincinnati Dayton area, and you see all these brewers have come in from all different backgrounds. There's been a lot of major ones that have come into this area and say, "Hey, I'm starting over. I'm going to start something here."
Oh yeah, and they came and they brought like this amazing background in education and history with them. It's fantastic. That's an excellent point there. 8-week lagers. Time in the tank does matter.
I agree.
If you're able to do your lagers for 8 weeks,
I definitely want to. Whenever she actually wants us to come and try one 2 weeks, 4 to 6
Oh,
weeks,
yeah.
I definitely would like to see
That
that.
would be awesome. So Alex at Mellotone, you have 3 people that are very interested in you doing a sensory class.
Yeah,
we'll
let's
call
go.
it of
Get in the truck.
different age lagers. That would be absolutely amazing.
Because from your guys' beer experience, could you tell if something's been aged long or not when it comes to a lager?
Yeah. I had to do that along the process. So I had to taste the beer as it was aging. Could I tell a fully packaged product if it spent 8 weeks in a fermentation vessel versus 4 weeks or 6 weeks? Probably only to the degree where I would tell you if something's off or not. But once it's finished in the interpretation that you want, I don't know if I'm going to be able to say, you know what? That's a 9-weeker right there.
Yeah, I think I would have to have them side by side, and then I might be able to tell you that there's a difference. Would I be able to pick which one's which? I don't know. I don't know that I've ever really paid attention when I get a lager.
How
long has this been?
I definitely think that aging longer actually helps the beer, clears up so many things that need time to actually clear up, and then it helps. I don't know if there's a point of diminishing return where, you don't need 12 weeks. You just need 9 or 8
right,
or whatever.
After so much, it
I
just
think
stops. Yeah.
It could, but there's no harm in it.
Okay. Yeah.
Whereas I think with something like dry hopping, there is a point where you're just throwing money away.
Let's see. From there, they kind of talked a bit about can consumers be happy with simple beers such as lagers, which, we kind of just talked about. And then they talked about distribution. Not necessarily planning on it, but she is very sold on taking over as many taps in Cincinnati as humanly possible.
Right.
So be prepared for Mellotone
So not
to
the
take
world.
over the world. Well,
Just-
the Cincinnati area.
Just the close,
Yeah.
world.
Just the nearest, radius of say 120 taps.
If
Sounds about right.
a nuclear bomb went off, the radius of that radiation, that's what she's
That's
trying
what she's
to
looking for,
accomplish.
yeah.
Right there.
Let's see, beer is situational, which we've talked about before. And I know that we discussed kind of our favorite situational beers. Kind of Noam presented that question to her. What are your favorite situational beers? Not styles, not brands, not anything like that, but what is the best beer to you? To which the first thing that popped into my head, we already gave kind of our list in a previous episode. I'm like, the free beer. The beer that you're just saying, hey, here, have a beer with me. Here you go. Here's
Yeah.
one. I think the free beer is always going to be one of the best beers.
Free beer is a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, what
I
about-
think we said first beer on vacation.
Yeah, the post mowing your lawn beer.
Yeah. Post
Yeah.
Molon.
I swear
the
the Friday
post flying
beers.
pig beer.
Post flying pig beer is the one that
pig
that
beer was amazing.
popped into my head.
Yes.
I don't want a Mick Ultra ever. However, the free one that we got there was the most just satisfying
Absolutely.
beer.
Absolutely. So Blake, for you, other than the Friday beer, do you have a favorite situational beer?
No. I mean,
All beers are great beers.
all beers are good.
After a good poop beer.
Hopefully after a Bengals win, always nice.
That's
Hopefully
always
Yeah.
a good
get
one.
Yeah.
more
There you go.
Yeah, I hear you. Let's see. Talked about judging at GABF, which is always interesting when you hear from people that
It's a huge
try
flex.
to judge it. It is, but I love that she focused or she preferred to judge the experimental styles,
Yeah.
where it's not as potentially cut and dry. Or is it, because they do have to pick a style that the beer is part of or based off of? So I don't know if that makes it easier or harder, but I love that she really enjoys, not the air quotes.
It's very
easy
cool.
categories
It's extremely
of
cool.
a very set in stone
Right.
categorization, I guess.
Extremely cool.
Yeah. Let's see. They're still figuring out what Mellotone's flagship beers will be, but she does know that there will always be some type of lager.
West Coast IPA.
They talked about what they actually did keep historic in the space, because a lot of people are saying, oh, you took the history out of it, and they're like, no, we kind of didn't. But they did leave a lot of historical relics in that space, such as the dot matrix printer that they use in their office.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. That was the same thing I was thinking.
Yeah. This was a really fun interview. I absolutely cannot wait to check out Mellotone. Kind of sad I haven't done it yet, but I mean, they're going to be around for a while. Yeah. So let them kind of get fully settled into the space, kind of work out any kinks that they might still be working out. And it'll be there when we are ready to get there. Yeah,
let's go.
So Blake, Marco,
when
anything
we're
else?
ready.
I guess I have one other thing on that show.
Yeah.
One thing they said was how, I don't know, it's not only heard that I would rather, when a brewery closes, sadly, I would rather see another brewery go in there and turn it into something, not something.
Yes, like what did they call it? The like soulless event space or something like that. I agree with that 100%. Yeah, it's never fun when a brewery closes, but it opened in that space for a reason. There was a desire or a need for there to be a brewery there, so try to refill like for like. Which actually flows into our weekly pint discussion. But before we get to that, the sip count for this episode. So if you watch the video on YouTube, you'll understand the sips. If you just listen to the podcast, trust us, they drank on the show.
They did.
There were 12 total
the
sips.
gnome did.
Well, Alex was drinking water.
Alex is drinking water, yes.
I count sips regardless of the beverage.
Yes,
because
correct.
a sip is a sip.
Yes.
And as we say, we don't care what you're drinking on, during the show. Just drink something.
Full DEI on sips.
Exactly. 12 total sips. Okay. That is 24 ounces or 1.5 pints in this 1 hour long episode.
Blake, let's do it right now.
Chug it.
Chug it.
Chug it.
All right, let's run through the weekly pint, and then we are going to wrap this shit up and get down to Kolsch Night. The weekly pint, episode 249, humble but sad. And I don't like talking about this because I'm kind of in Gnome's mindset as well, that I'm still a bit in denial about Humble Monk closing, but we'll start with a little bit of good news. The weekly pint is officially sponsored by our favorite snack of all time, Dicks. So you can expect to see a whole lot of Dicks going on in the weekly pint from into the foreseeable future, which is amazing.
You take the bags.
Congratulations,
If you take the bags and put them together, like butt end like that, it's a double-sided dick.
Oh my God. Amazing, Marco.
Yep.
Amazing. Blake, do you have a favorite Dicks flavor?
I don't think I've ever had one.
What?
Oh, we need to get you a bag of each of the flavors.
We're gonna solve this.
To take home, and then you need to.
You're gonna get dicked.
Maybe on the next Thirsty Thursdays, you can be thirsty for Dicks.
Okay.
And you can eat them and let people know.
Okay.
I like this flavor, this flavor, this flavor.
Because I don't know if they come up that north.
I don't know if they're in stores up there, but you can get them. I think they do free shipping for all orders online. Yeah, you can have Dicks delivered right to your door.
What seems like, and people are like, I really like to get them into the store. How much shit do you get delivered to your house?
Yeah.
Honestly. Like, retail stores are closing. Where are you going to go to buy yarn coming up once Joann's is closed? Oh, the internet.
People still buy yarn?
Apparently so, yeah. I mean, Caroline still crochets.
Yeah. Who?
Caroline.
Yeah.
Or wait, did I? Here, hold on. Let me see if I did this right. No, I did not. Let's try that again. Although that's just
good
kind
shit.
of. Caroline. That was a lot louder than what I thought.
That's great.
Okay, so half-ass beer review, Josh. That is for you more than Caroline.
Hell yeah.
I'll actually say. And I'm also disappointed that I didn't remember what button I put that on not even 30 minutes ago.
All right.
Yeah. So we're going to have some more fun buttons that I'm going to try to use on a more regular basis.
Fun buttons.
But there was a new schnapp that happened on this episode of the Weekly Pint. Becca Rovka.
God bless you.
Sounds about right. It's an herbal liqueur. It tasted like winter, is what Gnome said.
Yeah.
Which, it sounds good. So, I mean, it sounds like we need to kind of crash his bar and just all the schnapps that he has in the house.
What does winter taste like? I'll tell you what winter tastes like.
It tastes
like bone-chilling car troubles.
Yeah. So, let's see. He had an Eastern European block schnapps. In Soviet Russia, schnapps drink you.
Yeah.
Because, why wouldn't you say that when you talk about anything that is anywhere near Eastern Bloc? I don't even know what Eastern Bloc countries exist anymore, like Czechoslovakia, do any of the Slovakias exist anymore? No one knows.
I don't know.
No.
I have no idea.
Know.
Yeah. I guess it doesn't really matter because that's not what Gnome talked about.
Right.
I'm going to get back on track now.
Okay. All right.
Sorry, guys. He talked about what a digestif is.
Yeah.
which, I mean,
Helps with the bubble guts.
just drink a nice, slightly pepperminty or herbal schnapps before a meal, and that helps with the bubble gut.
Yeah.
My words, not gnomes.
Let's do it now.
Nope.
Okay.
Because again, Kolsch night.
Oh, yeah,
we
that's
got to
true.
get down there.
Gotta get some Kolsch.
Although if Julia's behind the bar, we might be able to talk her into some type of digestive, even though it's Kolsch night. But
Right.
that's not what you do there.
Yeah.
Let's see. The beer of the night was West Side's Italian
West Side?
style Pilsner, which is such a phenomenal beer.
It's great beer.
But it is Gill season, so Gill is kind of my West Side go-to right now because, good freaking Lord, that beer is just absolutely spectacular. It is probably my favorite West Side beer.
Wow.
Like Tippa
Whoa.
is up there, but man,
Whoa.
I can't house Tippa.
Julie.
I could, but I'm not going to.
Julia. Oh, my God.
I know. Anyway, going back to the weekly pint, the sad part about this, the title, I don't even know if I said, episode 249, Humble But Sad.
Yeah. You said it.
Humble Monk announced their permanent closure, which they're kind of no fault of their own.
It's also kind of
it's-
not really a surprise.
No. I think that after a few months of them not being able to open in the new location, people realize the chances keep getting less and less and less. But
Right.
the beer was fantastic. I remember going there when they first opened, and the beer was, it's like any new brewery. The beer's like, it's okay. But the longer they were working on stuff, the better it got, and the more kind of ingrained in the Cincinnati craft beer community they became. The owners, Mike and Alicia, are probably the nicest people you will ever meet. Even when sometimes it was a month or two in between when Josh and I would go down there, when we would walk in, they remembered us. Like they knew how to make you feel like you were walking into your space,
Right.
no matter how long it was in between visits. I do hope that maybe they find other places within the craft beer community, but if not, I just hope that they find something that makes them happy, and hopefully they know that they had to close the doors, leaving the Cincinnati craft beer community better than the way they left it because of that.
Yeah.
Just everything amazing that they put into what they did. You
Yeah.
know, they didn't close because of low sales. They didn't close because the beer wasn't good. It was just really, really.
That was a tough
just-
business lesson right there.
Yeah.
Man, it was really tough.
Yep. And the worst, the nicest people that could have happened to. But unfortunately, is what it is. Maybe, well, no, I highly doubt that a brewery would ever be able to open in what was going to be their new space. That location, I think, is just cursed. And I really wish them the best. And
Me too.
moving on to bigger and better things, hopefully. He went over some label approvals. There are some really cool looking things that are going to be hopefully coming out soon. Again, label approvals don't necessarily mean that the beers are going to be made, but a lot of times what we see does become an actual thing.
Yes.
Marco, you had your first great idea ever.
Ever.
I think Trip Beer Pod would be
Ever.
your second greatest idea.
Yeah.
But putting what to do with all your beer labels. I said make magnets, and he's like, I don't have room for them on my 37 beer fridges. And then he went, and Marco, you went.
What about on the inside of your garage door, your roll down garage door?
Genius.
Yeah.
Genius. Absolutely
I got to
genius.
give a shout out to my wife because that's where she puts magnets.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't my idea.
Well, shout out to Rachel for giving you your greatest idea.
Yeah.
It's teamwork.
Yeah.
It's
well,
all about
so
teamwork.
then my greatest idea was asking Rachel to the prom.
Oh,
which
yeah,
then
there you go.
We started dating,
There you go.
asked her to marry me.
And
Fast
look where we
forward.
are now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Little King's Tall Boys may be coming. They're not in 19.2s.
Yeah.
So, I mean, are they really going to be the biggest kings? However,
I'm for it.
All right. I'll drink one.
Are they
for you.
going to be in the green bottles too, or
The label looked like probably a 16-ounce can.
No,
But-
I think they would still produce.
They'll still do the little
They'll
bottles.
still do the little
yeah,
kings.
But they'll also sell
Sell
the big king. Is that
Grande.
what it said? The Grande King.
Grande
yes. Other labels that we saw came from, and this is not all inclusive because, again, we want you to watch this episode. It's like 57 minutes long.
You can do it.
Rhinegeist, Streetside, Taft's, and more.
Yeah.
There is a fun potential collaboration coming from Urban Artifact and a very egotistical dude. Mm-hmm. Yes. And if that happens, the label, the artwork is It's beyond gorgeous. I might buy it just for the label.
Let's go.
If it happens. And then he kind of closed his show out with, help dicks get bigger.
That's right.
Buy
You
dicks.
can help
eat
dicks get bigger.
Enjoy
You're not
dicks.
talking about Viagra?
That's next week's episode.
Okay.
Yes.
Next week.
So he's going to be kind of splitting up his sponsorships. Like 1 week it's dicks, the next week Viagra, because you can't be dicking around all the time.
No.
I mean, you get tired.
No.
So he has to kind
His
of balance
sponsorships
out.
just stay around the pubic region.
They really do. But for some reason, hearing him talk about his love of dicks isn't as awkward for me to listen to as him talking
not.
about Manscaped.
Yeah. It's not.
Yeah. Another really fun episode. There was a fairly decent crowd of people watching. Not a whole lot of people chiming in on chat, but that's okay. Marco and I held up the conversation pretty well, I think.
Try to do our part. That's what we do.
Yes. If we can try to distract Gnome in any way, shape, or form via comments.
Didn't see Christine.
Did not see Christine. Christine, hope you're doing well.
Hope you're doing all right.
Yeah, hopefully was just busy and
Yeah.
she was taking a nap.
Could be.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? So, Blake, I think you said you hadn't had a chance to watch this one yet.
I will.
Do you have any notes to say on what you hope is in this episode?
Hopefully I don't see his dick. But
I mean, he has a lot of dicks out during the episode.
No,
right?
I'm-
So we can't promise anything. Marco, how about you? Any other closing notes on the Weekly Pint before the sip count and we wrap this episode up?
No, I won't get in the way of wrapping it up. I know we got to go to Kolsch night. I don't know if anybody
Everybody
heard.
but
Did we
me.
mention that we're going to Kolsch
We
night?
did. I think we mentioned it at least once.
Okay,
But
all right.
if you guys didn't know, we're going to Kolsch night.
Kolsch night.
That's why this is a little rushed. The sniff and sip count, because Gnome doesn't drink a ton on the show because he's talking. So I had to add something.
Well, it changes
to-
because now he's got dicks.
This is true. I might have a chip count. He took 15 sniffs, mostly of the liqueur, mostly of the, how did I say, the Bekarovka?
Yeah.
Rovka.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, we'll go with that. So 15 sniffs, only 6 sips.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of that was a liquor, so, I mean, that's fine. That is 21 total countables, or
Okay,
42
42 ounces.
The answer to everything. 2.625 pints in 57 minutes.
All right, let's do it.
Very doable. Again, we got to
Oh,
be
we can't.
responsible and
Damn
get down
it.
to
All
coach
right.
night. Yes. That's all that we have for this week. Next week, again, is going to be absolutely amazing because
I wonder if Binsky's
I
has some Becca.
probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not. They have Merlot. Or not Merlot.
Merlot. All right.
They might have that, but they have
Malort.
Malort. I don't know why I messed that up, but hey, you know what? Fuck it.
Cheers.
Screwed up the name of that one. Why not? All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up because if you guys
Wrapping
didn't know,
it.
we're going to Kolsch night. So thank you for your listenership. As always, if you like what we've done, do all the things you know you should do. Go to truthbeerpod.com. That's where you'll find links to everything that we do, including a link to how to join our Patreon, where you will get unedited episodes of all of our shows. And believe it or not, as short as this episode is, there are going to be a couple things that are cut out just in the interest of time and interest of tangenting. And I like to make sure that Patreon does get some exclusive content every week with our shows.
And what is it? At least 40% of the extra 60% is good stuff.
Is decent.
Yeah.
It's at least decent.
It's at least decent.
Yeah.
It's
All
better
right.
than bad.
It's not great, but it's good.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Another huge shout out to Half-Ass Beer Review. Follow Josh and everything that he's doing on YouTube, and also Tone and Chris, so Dress and the Dungeon Master and Banter and Babble. It's all absolutely amazing content. Chris is here in Ohio. The other two guys,
OH.
they're in Michigan.
There you go. Way to
But you
go,
know
Blake.
what? They're
Sorry.
awesome.
Macho man.
Macho man.
They are. And Josh, I am getting some new sound clips added to the board. You kind of heard a teaser on one of them, so please don't give me too much shit about it. It's hard work. You know this. He does
Right.
video editing. Like, I don't know how he does the things that he does. I just do audio, and I complain about it to the 9th degree. Anyway, wrap this shit up. We will see you guys next week. Marco, Blake, what are you guys going to be doing next Tuesday?
I'm doing this here as
I'm
far
going
as
to
I
be
know.
here.
Hell yeah.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.